What's going on, people? Today I want to talk about ranking up to Infinite, and is it possible with the free-to-play account? It is, and I did it. My dog is sleeping behind me. She had a rough day. A lot of running outside, so maybe she'll wake up, but I don't think so. Let's go on. All right, so how did I get to Infinite with the free-to-play account, and why did I do it? I wanted to get to Infinite this season. I've been playing for the last like 3 or 4 months. The highest I got is rank 94 or 95, one of the two. But I couldn't push forward up until the Infinite rank. Last season, I ended at rank 90, meaning if I lost one game or retreated once, I would be at 89.9, and I would start this season at rank 40. I said, I'm not playing anymore. I'm going to start at rank 50, whatever. But I still wanted to play. So I made a new account that I said I'm not going to spend money on, just to play for fun. And I had a good time with it. New season started, and I said, well, you know, let me keep playing with this account, and I want to get to Infinite. Either on my main account or this other account, I'm doing it. And I made 2 rules. Always snap on turn 3 or 4. Never retreat, even if I'm going to lose on turn 6. Stuck with those rules. It took me 2 weeks to get to Infinite. So, what are my first initial tips for this? 1, it doesn't matter if you're a brand new player or an experienced player. Keep playing, get the experience, learn the cards, learn the game, figure out how to recognize what your opponent is doing and cards that they might use, and then you can react better in those situations. So just keep playing the games, and you will get better no matter what. Learn card combos. Learn that if you see Moon Girl come out, that probably is going to be a Devil Dino. You learn that if there is a Blue Marvel coming out, there most likely is going to be a Onslaught at that same location. That people really like to use White Tiger and Odin at the same time or in the same lane. So just be aware of all these situations, learn the card combos, and you'll be able to play better and react to what your opponent is doing as well. You'll have better expectations of what the turns coming up are. Snap after turn 3 or 4 every single time. You're going to be playing mostly bots. You're going to be winning most of your games. You might as well be winning 4 and 8 cubes rather than just winning 1 or 2. Do that. Stay in pool 1. Don't go above 214. If you have a deck in pool 1 and you're doing really good with it, and you're like, well, I don't really need any other cards, I keep winning. Don't even raise your collection level, even if it's above 180. If it's above 160, there's no point. Not yet. Once you start having a little bit of a harder time, rank yourself up a little bit more. The reason why I say don't rank up higher than you need to is I'm not sure if the matchmaking is based off of collection level at this low level. It might be your MMR, but I wanted to keep my collection level as low as possible. Learn the cards in pool 1. Once you go and you see what all the cards are and you're able to recognize exactly what they are, because there is a timer on every turn, you'll be able to react and know, okay, this card's going to do this. This card is what this does. I know how these interact. I know what might come next, so I know how to react. Learn all the cards. Read the locations twice. Very important. Once you start to read the locations and you'll familiarize yourself with the music, the sounds, the visual effects of them, you don't even need to even really read the locations as much. You'll just recognize them right away. But still, you should always just read the locations twice, just in case. The Kazoo deck. So the Kazoo deck is one reason why I had to raise my collection level up. I needed Squirrel Girl so much, and it was getting very frustrating that I didn't have her. And she was one of the last cards that I unlocked in Series 1. And I was just so upset by it. After I got her, the Kazoo deck really took off. She will put a 1 cost, 1 power guy in all the locations, and it will help boost and really mess with your opponent about where you're going to place next. So you want to be mindful of placement. You don't want to just stack a whole bunch of guys on one location right away, especially if you have like Ant-Man, because Ant-Man will go well with other types of cards, not just, you know, like Ant-Man, Korg, and Nightcrawler in one location. Well, Nightcrawler is different, but 3 static cards in one location. It's nice, but then your opponent can kind of plan against it. So just be mindful of how you're placing your cards. The goal, if you can, is to try to get Blue Marvel and Onslaught at the same location. That'll give all your guys +2 power. That's fantastic. A nice, really big boost, especially when you have a whole bunch of 1 cost guys. Just that combo will make Squirrel Girl a essentially 1 cost 9 power card, because it's 1 cost, and then you will get 2 more 1 cost guys. That's 3. 1 more power from Blue Marvel or Ka-Zar, and then another power from Onslaught duplicating that. Huge. If you do end up keep getting Enchantress, you could replace Captain America with Cosmo if you want. This will help stop Enchantress, so you can put them down and then hide Blue Marvel, Onslaught, or Ka-Zar, all of them behind Cosmo, if that will help you out. Sometimes I don't really think you need it as much, but when you get to the higher ranks, it's not a bad thing to reconsider. Mantis can be replaced, but when it comes to, let's just say, her and Misty Knight is never going to get you anything else. She has no abilities, and if Mantis misses, then she's just as useless as Misty Knight is. But considering you have that opportunity to take a card from your opponent's deck, I really enjoy using Mantis. She's got the good stats. I keep her in there. You do whatever you want. What you shouldn't do, though, is play Korg before Yondu. If you play Korg in this deck, you'll put a rock in their place. And if you play Yondu on the same turn, there is a chance that you can then destroy the top card of their deck, which is the rock. Now, there are going to be some situations where, of course, you have just like a Korg in your hand on turn 1. You don't have Yondu, then you'll draw Yondu later, whatever. But on turn 2, try not to play them both. If you have the option, Yondu first. You can move Nightcrawler on turn 6 for a surprise play. This is huge. The big underlying text to this is, if you have Nightcrawler, you don't have to move him the next turn. You can wait. If you have a full location, and Nightcrawler is one of them, and the opponent's going to say, okay, well, I think I have this lane pretty locked down right now, there's no mention of whether your opponent or your Nightcrawler already moved to the opponent. So your opponent looks at your Nightcrawler, unless they remember that that's where Nightcrawler was, they may completely forget that he didn't move, or maybe he did move. Who knows? But a lot of times people will look at Nightcrawler and not really consider that he can move at the end. So keep him until you have to move him. You do risk him being Electred, but at the same time, you scooch him out, throw Onslaught in his place, huge power play, 8 cubes. Moon Girl and Devil Dino. This is probably the most iconic combo in Pool 1. Moon Girl will duplicate the cards in your hand, and Devil Dino will get additional power for every card in your hand. If he is in your opening hand, like the first 3 cards, or even the first card you draw, you should, on turn 3 or 4, just snap. There's a very good chance that if you do get Moon Girl as well, that you will get a second Devil Dino from using her. So that is going to be 1 Devil Dino on turn 5, another Devil Dino on turn 6. If you did duplicate and use Moon Girl on turn 4, those Devil Dinos are probably going to be 14 power, both of them. So snap that time. Be wary where your Dino is, so you don't use Enchantress on that lane to try to get rid of your opponent's ongoing abilities, because you will hurt your own Devil Dino and you will make whatever he is into a new 3 power card. Don't do it. Beware that Sentinel replenishes your hand. Every time you play a Sentinel, that's going to be 3 power on the board, and it will keep that +2 bonus for Devil Dino. So if you have a choice between, like, let's just say Mr. Sinister and Sentinel for turn 2, then I would say just do Sentinel. That being said, you can also replace Mr. Sinister. I kind of like him in case, you want a Wolfsbane. You can Electra, Mr. Sinister, and Wolfsbane, and that's going to be a 7 power Wolfsbane for you. But he's also replaceable. Odin can work as a surprise boost to Dino. If you have Dino out and on turn 6 you Odin where there's a Moon Girl, that will give a really sneaky power boost to Devil Dino, sometimes getting you the victory. I haven't needed to use it a lot of times, but the few times I did, got me the game. Sometimes I think this is harder to use than the Kazoo deck, but it provides stronger wins. The reason why I think it's harder is you have to be aware of, if you are trying to go for that Devil Dino win, then you have to be aware of where he is in your hand and what else you could do to plan around it. The Kazoo deck is just, you're placing a bunch of 1-cost cards, trying to just have it so you can put Onslaught and either Ka-Zar, Blue Marvel at the same location, which is a lot easier. This one might require a little bit more thinking overall. I also think it's a little bit harder to win with Kazoo because you might get focused on, you have to have Devil Dinosaur to win. You do not need Devil Dinosaur to win with this deck. It's fantastic, but it's not needed, especially a duplicate Devil Dinosaur. Don't get hyper-focused, you'll be fine. So the final thoughts that I have for this is you don't have to spend money to get infinite. I got it. I am proof that you don't have to do it, and you can do it in 1 season. I did mine in 2 weeks. Stay in Pool 1 as long as you can. As soon as you get to Pool 2, then you're going to have access to whatever limited cards you have, while you can go against people who have all the Pool 2 cards. You don't want that. Stay in Pool 1 as long as you can. Be aware of your collection level and what upgrading a card will do. You know, if you are at 214 and you want to just upgrade this card because it looks cooler, but it'll upgrade it to infinite, and you think that's awesome, that'll put you into Pool 2 and you won't have access to all the cards, and it'll be an unfair game for when you're going against other people. You will go against many bots, and you will get cubes. So just be aware of that. Sometimes the game doesn't make sense where it's just like, why did this person do this? It probably was a bot. And that's not a bad thing. The AI in this game, especially when it comes to newer players in Pool 1, it can be pretty good. It can be pretty tricky. Just keep going with it. Snap. Don't be afraid to snap. Get your cubes. You will get up in level. Read the locations. Read the cards. So important while you're playing this game to know what you're putting in where and how that will matter in later turns. You don't want to go and forget about Mindscape, which switches hands on turn 6. Be aware of everything that you possibly can. Keep reading the locations, keep reading the cards. Play order actually really does matter in this game. Like I said before, you want a Yondu before you Korg, or you're going to have a bad time. Credits cap at 10,000. Right now I'm about at 8,500, so hopefully in a day or two I will hit that 10,000 cap, and I will finish a mission and see if it actually can go over 10,000, and then we'll see. But currently it's supposed to cap at 10,000. Also, don't buy the season pass at least until the very end of the season. It's going to be tempting to say, you know, maybe I got to infinite and I got all this stuff, but at the same time, you are going to get a bunch of cards like Nimrod that you don't really need. The variants are really cool, but you're going to have all these credits and everything that you might not be able to use. And the whole point of this is to not spend any money. So if you get to infinite and you want to get the season pass at the very end of the season, go right ahead, but you don't have to do that at all to get any type of advantage to actually get infinite in 1 season for free. That's all right, people, that's it. Those are my tips, those are my thoughts, those are the decks I used, and you can get to infinite if you are a free-to-play player. You don't need to spend money in this game to get to infinite, and you can have a great time. Once you get higher to Pool 2, or especially Pool 3, it'll get a lot tougher, but that doesn't mean you're a bad player if you get to infinite in Season 1. You still need to make some really good plays. You still need to be familiar and aware of like what can happen, what you're doing, and it is still a very skill-based game. You guys can do great. I know you can get to infinite. Let me know if you got to infinite on a free-to-play account, and then I will see you guys later.